Hello, today I'm going to be going through and talking about the 17 Star Trek episodes, Star Trek original series episodes that I think are severely underrated. And the way I measure it is if my score to 10 is zero point 0.5 or more over the IMDb score for the episode, then I will put it on this list. I'm gonna try to go through this because there's 17 of them, so I don't want this to be a super long video. So first off, I have The Cage. Um, I don't actually have this one on my official list of episodes since most of the footage is in the Menagerie. But since the Menagerie scores are much closer to what I think the episode deserves, that aren't on the list. Whereas The Cage is down at 7.6. Now, I would personally probably give more for an 8.3. I love The Cage. I think most of it's down to the atmosphere. Like the whole original series has a much better atmosphere than any other Star Trek show. Something about the music and the sounds and the sets that are like they're like pretty fake looking, but they're realistic enough that if you don't think about it, they look real. The bright colors, something about all that, you just feel much more like you're out in the middle of space and you do any other Star Trek show. And I think specifically in The Cage more than any other episode of Star Trek, even the original series. Um, yeah, the music for one thing, the music, especially when they're on the planet, the music is like really like weird and kind of creepy almost. The whole plan is really interesting. I love the sets for it. Love the really main ideas. Like it's an interesting story. It's pretty cool. Um, I'm not complaining that we didn't get this for as the pilot because then we wouldn't have the cast of characters that we all love. But I'm glad that we get to watch it now because I do love that episode. And then coming up next is the actual first episode aired, The Man Trap. And I will say that the first 5 episodes of this are in like the first 5 episodes of the actual show, pretty much. Because like first six something, but the whole show again it's only 17 episodes. I just think that the first group of episodes was overall very underrated. The Man Trap. Um, Similar to this isn't I don't like it as much as The Cage. I don't have it at a 7.7, but it's rated as a 7.2 in IMDb, which I think is too low because obviously because it's in this video. I don't know why I said that. For one thing, atmosphere. Like I think a lot of these early episodes even have more. Like the first 10 episodes of TOS had a better atmosphere than the rest of the whole show. um, there's the story. I think it's really cool that we get to see the shapeshifter become several different like creatures, several different people. All of that when a person had bones to go to the thing. There was actual a moral dilemma to this one with like because they want to kill this even though it's the last of its kind. Like the climax where there's a scene where she's trying to convince Bones that it's not Nancy. It's about some emotional stasis as well. But I think this is a very fun episode and very underrated. Doesn't get the credit it deserves. And then next I have the other pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before. Again, I don't want to keep talking about atmosphere too much, because like it's not the whole point of the show. But other than The Cage, this one probably has the best atmosphere. Um, like the whole stuff on the whole planet is cool set and stuff. Uh, um, there was a lot more like character stuff to this one, like character depth. So by the way, I gave this one an 8.3. None to be had a 7.7. Like all the stuff with the fact that Gary himself is like it's like all it's summed up in the ending scene where Kirk's saying he wants to say in his log he died in the line of duty because he didn't ask for any of this to happen to him. Um, so like for episodes to have all the cool action and atmosphere and all that kind of stuff they did, but still have the emotional stakes. I like this episode a lot, and I think it should be much more highly regarded. Another 8.3 episode that was very early on, it had 7.6, is The Enemy Within. I think this is also one of the best episodes of the original series. Um, it's funny how this one does have the atmosphere also because it's only like on the ship the whole time. I think the lighting helps a lot. Um, I know a lot of people find like William Shatner's overly hammy acting a little annoying, and sometimes it can be. But I think in this episode as Evil Kirk, it just makes Evil Kirk seem more like insane, which like I think fits the character a lot and helps the episode. Um, I like a lot of like the themes explored in it about how where like Kirk needs both sides to function, which like I guess technically like I don't think you actually need like any evil at all to function, but um but it's just a story. It's an interesting concept to explore. I like the way they did it. There's humor in it too. Of course, Sulu's joke for the coffee. Probably one of the best jokes in the show. That was just it was a good episode. yeah, and very well shot. Also, like when there's two Shatners on the scene, that always did that well. And yeah, I just like this episode a lot. Okay, This Side of Paradise. This is one of my favorite episodes of the whole show. I have it as 8.5, but IMDb only has it at 7.8. Um, you know, for Spock's character mainly. There's a lot of other stuff in this episode. Like there's a lot of funny moments when they're all getting angry near the end. The planet's pretty, but I think my favorite thing about this episode, well, by far, it's just all the stuff with Spock. That ending line, for the first time in my life, I was happy. It's like it's not quite a City Edge Forever ending line, but it's up there. It's up there with ending lines that really hit home. Um, there's that episode, the I'll not be complete without you from the Emissary in Next Generation. There's another episode ending lines I'll get onto later. But yeah, those stuff is the Spock, seeing him actually get to be genuinely happy and stuff. That was all great, and I think that episode is very underrated. Okay, The Apple. This is actually one of my favorite episodes. I don't have it at 7.4. I'm behind it at 6.4. People don't like this episode that much at all, and I think this episode is really good. It's certainly not one of the best of the series or anything, but it's one of my favorite planet sets. All those, the planet looks really cool. The scenes where they're like trying to navigate all the dangerous planets and stuff, like that explosion when the red shirt steps on the mine, that was a really cool part. And then they get actually to the people, and I like all the story about how they think they're in this really ideal setting, but they're missing out on a whole bunch of stuff. I love that scene where the two people finally get to um they get to they actually try love for the first time. And all that stuff and there's this philosophical exploration episode. Good episode, not one of the best in the series, but it's very underrated because most people don't like it that much at all. And another episode that actually only has added a 6.8, so it's not one of my favorites, in the slightest bit. It's one of the weakest episodes in the show, and I think, but it's a 6.2, which is too low in my opinion. And that's Cat's Paw. Yeah, it's not the best episode or anything. It's kind of silly at parts, but it's a fun episode. There was a lot of again, I talk a lot about how much I love the sets and atmosphere of the show. This one has that a lot. But also again, an interesting theme. These aliens who don't really have these physical sensations. So then they come here and they finally discover it. But I also like how they try to tap into our brains, just tap into nightmares instead. So they create all this spooky Halloween stuff. Their own form, and I think a lot of people probably find that really goofy how they just look like paper, all these they look like something you would make in a kindergarten class. But I think that makes them this a little more alien. They're definitely a lot better than just there's some human with a thing in their nose or something. Which I guess the original series probably would. I don't know. I think the original series did a little better with that sometimes. But overall, I do like the episode. I don't like it a lot exactly, but I do like it. 6.2 is way too low. Okay, this next one is definitely less of an underrated episode, really, and more just a guilty pleasure, and that's Friday's Child. Yeah, it's not a very good episode. I have a 7.4. People give it 6.7. It's very clunky. There's a whole bunch of it's just fighting and without much of a story. But the fighting is really good, and I love the action of the original series. I love the planet set. The whole story. I know I find this episode just a lot of fun, even if it's not technically a good episode. And this next episode, I don't know if this is a good episode or as a guilty pleasure. I'm not sure, because there's a lot happening in this episode. That is sorry, I'm talking really fast. I'm trying to work with that. A Private Little War. I have this one as a 7.8. And I'm at a 6.8. I think this is a very underrated episode. It's actually one of my favorites of the original series. So much happened in this episode. There's all the stuff with Spock. There's all the stuff on the planet. I don't know why I mentioned stuff with Spock first. I guess that happens first. But that was fun. But it definitely wasn't the highlight episode. This episode I was talking about earlier when I mentioned that talk about ending lines. Obviously, not quite as hard hitting as Sitting Forever closing line, or I'm not complete without you, or for the first time in my life I was happy, but we're tired. Beam us up. That does hit hard after they came down to the planet and tried to stop this war, but then it ended up just escalating and getting worse. On top of that, there's a bunch of goofy stuff like the Magato that somehow made the episode better. And I don't know, I think this episode is so much fun. Also kind of sad at the same time. And very underrated. Okay, next I have my actual personal favorite episode of the original series overall, and also the most underrated in my opinion, because I have it as an 8.8, and people gave it a 7.4, and that is Return to Tomorrow. Yeah, this episode has so much good stuff in it. For one thing, Kirk and Spock both die in this episode, and it doesn't feel cheap either time how they come back. We always got to, of course, we get to see, it's always fun to see the main characters, but like, with it's not the main characters, just like their bodies, because it seems so weird to like see like Spock, but he's evil, but like it looks like Spock, but he's like not Spock and he's evil. There's that Kirk speech was probably Kirk's best speech, possibly at least one of the best. And there's also there's a lot of emotional stuff this episode, like with Sargon and Thalassa, and their theme is also great. Yeah, I think this episode is amazing. It's not really, I would say it's amazing, but I think it's great. Close to really great, maybe not super close, but whatever. Very underrated episode. Okay, Bread and Circuses. I think I had this one as a 7.6. I'm pretty sure, and IMDb has it as a 7.0. This is another very fun episode. I think that's on Casino. A lot of this is that people just don't like fun episodes as much as I do. But then also, Trouble with Tribbles is a very much fun episode. I have it as a 7.7, but then IMDb has it as 8.8. So I'm like, as a Christian, I appreciate the fact that someone like mentioned Christianity in like a positive light and all that. I think my favorite scene in this episode is definitely my favorite episode is the one where Bones is talking to Spock and they're in their cage, and he like and he kind of like gives him the like. I need to talk about how for him like, every day is like just trying to hide his human emotions. So that was a great scene. Had that score in the background that I really liked. That was also in Immunity Syndrome, which the episode I like a lot. But I have I think 7.7. Yeah, when it has a 75 on IMDb, so it's underrated, but not enough to make it to this list. And then there's this. I like that part where they beam up and they shoot them. They try shooting them, but there's like but they just shoot through the. I'm not sure about this episode right now, but I like it a lot. It's very underrated. Okay, this next one is kind of funny to even have in the list because I only have it at a 6.3, and it's but IMDb has it as a 5.6. And if y'all know about IMDb scores, you know what episode I'm talking about because only one episode has a 5.6, and that is Spock's Brain. An infamously stupid episode, and that's very true. This episode is dumb, but it's also a lot of fun, and it's better than a 5.6, just because whether it's smart or not, it's pretty fun at times. Like, there's a lot of good action in it. I love the planet set. I like when it's like the frozen planet part. Yeah, and it's something that it can loop around to being so bad it's good, and also when the goofiness. So, yeah, not the best episode, not exactly a good episode, not one of my favorites at all. It's one of my least favorites probably. But 5.6 is way too low. Okay. Is There in Truth No Beauty? This is probably the best written episode of season 3. Maybe End for the Incident's better. I don't know. All I know is There in Truth No Beauty is great. A really good episode. Very underrated. I know why I had 6.9 on IMDb. I have a 7.9. I think a lot of people just don't appreciate episodes that are very dialogue driven. But that's also not true. So I don't know why I said that. Because a lot of people appreciate a lot of dialogue driven episodes are very high on the list, but I thought there's a lot of good character stuff in this. I like the plot twist of her being blind, and there's a lot of like hints that were passed on earlier on. Watch the target audience discussion video if you want to hear more about it. That's still so good because that was watching that video was kind of with like them react was kind of what made me realize how good this episode was. Pretty sure I did like it in the first place, but I didn't really like it as much as I did until I watched the reaction to it. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure I watched the reaction to it before I watched the episode for some reason, which is stupid, but whatever. Okay. Whom Gods Destroy. This was a lot of fun for one thing, with all the the insane people and Garth especially, and there's that scene where he just like blows up the Orion girl for no reason. That was like crazy, but it was like I liked it because it showed how insane he was. My favorite scene episode by far is the two Kirks scene. That was a lot of that was a really good, well written scene. A lot of like good strategy with like Spock trying to decide which one was the real Kirk. A lot of fun stuff this episode. I have it at 7.5, and I'm at 6.9, which is too low in my opinion. I need to stop saying it. Oh, it's too low. It's underrated. That's every episode on this list. I agree with that. Okay, That Which Survives. Only a 7 for me, but 6.5 is, again, way too low. The planet, that's cool. I like the main storyline behind, the girl. There was emotional stuff in this episode. I'm not remembering too much about why I liked the one as much as I did. I just remember that, again, even it's not like a one I love, it's just 7.0, but I feel like it has a 6.5. That's like very mediocre rating. Whereas I think it's a good episode, just not like outstanding. Okay, The Way to Eden. This I have at a 5.9. I would not expect myself to be mentioning this because I have it as it's a 5.9 versus a 5.4. Both very bad ratings, but I feel like it's a little better just because it can be kind of funny at the beginning, and I love it has one of my favorite sets in the whole show. It's in that episode for some reason. I don't. It's weird, but I don't want to have that on this list, but I'm including everything that has a 0.5 higher than the IMDb rating, so had to include it. And finally, The Savage Curtain. I think people rate this low just because, like, oh, that's so dumb about Abraham Lincoln. It doesn't make sense, but, like, I don't know. Even though it does make sense, but I don't know. I feel like that episode was a lot of fun because, it's cool seeing, Abraham Lincoln in Star Trek. It's, like, it's crazy, and there's the whole idea of him wanting to see the fight between good and evil, and yeah, there was a lot of fun stuff this episode. I don't want to go too long, so I'm gonna stop it now. But those are my picks for the most underrated episodes of Star Trek: The Original Series. I will make one on Next Generation sooner than later, and also a top 10 or 15, 25 original series, whatever. And the Next Generation might be longer because it's 4 seasons longer show, but it might be shorter because I feel like my opinions on the original series episodes are often very different than the collective opinion. Whereas Next Generation, my opinions tend to line up a little more with the collective opinions for whatever reason, but whatever. We'll see which one's long when we get to that. Bye.